26 knots down the Eagle. 106 to interval is a Rhino at 5. Sure, sir. 07 on glide path on course 1 mile. Sure, sir. 07 on glide path on.
On the 17th of March 2009, the French Navy surveillance frigate called the Florent was conducting counter-piracy patrols in the Gulf of Aden when it received an order to break away from its main tasking and intercept a French civilian yacht that was passing through the region. This yacht, named the Tanit and crewed by 5 individuals, including a 3-year-old child, was sailing from the French port of Vannes to the island of Zanzibar on the coast of East Africa. Given the fact that piracy was on the rise in the region and that the yacht would be a #1 target, the Florent was instructed to contact the ship's owners and warn them of the dangers. Flying out on the 17th of March, the frigate's onboard AS-565 Panther helicopter established contact with the Tanit's captain, Florent Lemacon, and advised him not to continue with their trip due to the threat posed by pirates. Although the warning was acknowledged, Florent assured the French airmen that the yacht would not pass within 300 kilometers of the Somalian coastline and would instead head out into the Indian Ocean and then loop back towards Zanzibar. This, however, failed to satisfy the crew of the Florent, whose commander spoke directly with Florent to reiterate that the area was not safe to pass through and that the rate of piracy attacks had drastically increased. Again, these warnings were not followed up on, and instead the group of French civilians opted to continue on their voyage, with a spokesman for the French Ministry of Armed Forces stating that they were told that it would be reckless in the extreme to attempt the trip down to Zanzibar. They were told that the threat from pirates was greater than ever. Frankly, it is baffling to us that the warnings were not heeded. With the crew of the Tanit adamant to press on to their destination, the Florent was unable to do anything other than provide a temporary escort to the yacht as it entered the Indian Ocean. At that point, on the 20th of March, the warship departed the Tanit and returned to its operational area, with the 2 vessels maintaining a communication link in the event that the yacht ran into trouble. Unfortunately, just 2 weeks later, on the 4th of April 2009, such fears became reality, when this link was suddenly broken and the yacht disappeared off radar. 2 days later, on the 6th of April, a French Atlantic II maritime patrol aircraft was sent out to re-establish contact with the Tanit, and whilst this was successfully achieved, it was discovered that the vessel had been boarded and seized by a group of pirates, with all 5 of the French civilians, including the 3-year-old child, being taken as hostages. Once news of this development became known, a military response to the situation was initiated, and by the end of the 6th of April, the Florent, plus 2 other French and 1 German warships, were en route to the Tanit's location. On their arrival, the warships opened negotiations with the pirates in an effort to bring a peaceful end to the crisis, but despite being offered multiple options, including the exchange of the child and female hostages for a French naval officer, the pirates rejected all of the proposals, with General Jean-Louis Georgelin, head of the French military, revealing that "We knew the pirates were very determined, ready to kill the hostages and blow up the boat as they had announced. The decision was therefore taken to intervene." Accordingly, on the 9th of April, 70 commandos from the French Special Forces unit known as Commando Hubert were flown out from Djibouti, airdropped into the Indian Ocean by a C-130 transport aircraft, and picked up by the French frigates in preparation for an assault. At the same time, French snipers deployed on board one of the warships shot the sails of the Tanit to immobilise the yacht, which are now close to within 30 kilometres of the Somalian coastline. Fearing that the hostages could be taken into Somalia itself, and with the negotiations showing no sign of progress, French President Nicolas Sarkozy gave the green light for an operation to retake the Tanit in the afternoon of the 10th of April 2009. At around 17:30 local time, a detachment of French commandos loaded up onto 2 rigid inflatable boats and set off from one of the French frigates towards the target. As they did so, the group of snipers, who were tasked with covering the assault, identified 3 of the pirates roaming around on the upper deck of the yacht. In a coordinated action, 2 of the pirates were shot dead, whilst the 3rd was wounded and fell overboard into the ocean. He would later be picked up alive and detained by the French forces. Meanwhile, the 2 inflatable boats closed up to and pulled up alongside the yacht, from where an assault team of 8 commandos stormed onto the vessel and cleared the upper deck, during which they successfully freed 4 of the hostages. However, it was as the French troops were aiding the 4 civilians off the vessel that heavy small arms fire began to be received from the saloon area located below deck, where the 5th hostage, Florent Lemacon, was known to be held. Although caught by surprise, the French troops immediately returned fire, and within a matter of moments, 2 pirates emerged with their hands raised above their heads. Thereafter, the commandos moved in and secured the saloon, where sadly they discovered the lifeless body of Florent Lemacon. A report into the operation would later confirm that a stray bullet, which could not be found on the scene, had struck Florent in the face during the firefight and killed him instantly, with the shot having most certainly been fired by one of the French commandos. General Georgelin later explained that Kalashnikov fire was fired by the pirates, and it was while the commandos were descending into the saloon that there was an exchange of fire and Mr. Lemacon was mortally wounded. The tragic passing of Florent Lemacon has overshadowed what was largely a successful counter-piracy operation conducted by the French Navy, which has since been strongly criticised for its handling of the situation. Yet, it must be remembered that it was the Navy which had repeatedly warned the crew of the yacht to not continue on their trip, and in view of the threats made to the lives of the hostages, including that of a 3-year-old child, the launching of a rescue operation was the best option available, as the French Minister for Defence, Hervé Morin, pointed out at the time. I believe it was the best possible decision. The pirates absolutely wanted to bring the hostages back to the Somali coast, from where we could no longer ensure their control and possibly their safety. A zero-risk operation of this nature does not exist. We have done everything possible to preserve the lives of the hostages.